and welcome to News Now. I'm your host, Taylor Inman. We're going over the week's biggest headlines for Northwest Montana. Democratic congressional hopeful Monica Tranel has attacked rival GOP U.S. Representative Ryan Zinke for illegally operating a vacation rental in Whitefish. But officials say the property is compliance with city law. In a campaign ad aired on television, Tranel is seen filming at Zinke's Snow Frog Inn property in Whitefish, alleging that the property operates illegally and receives special tax breaks from the city. But the property, located at 409 West 2nd Street, is following its permit, according to city officials. It has operated as a bed and breakfast under a conditional use permit since 2013. It is also listed as Zinke's primary address, and the congressman can be seen waving at Tranel from the property in the ad. David Taylor, Director of Planning and Building for Whitefish, said all of Zinke's Whitefish properties are currently in compliance with city regulations. In the ad, the second in a series where Tranel visits Zinke's rental properties, the Democrat states that Zinke's property receives a special tax break, quote, driving up home prices and property taxes for the rest of us. When asked if there is any special tax breaks for the Zinke property, Whitefish City Manager Dana Smith said no. The special tax break Tranel is referring to is a citywide 3% resort tax that is allocated for property tax relief for all commercial or residential properties within city limits. Smith said the process is not one where you need to contact the city for tax relief, it just happens automatically. The property owned by Zinke since 1998 received property tax relief prior to it becoming a vacation rental in 2013. The only thing that changed, Smith said, was its market value, so the switch from residential to commercial may have changed the amount of relief provided. The property received a tax break of $484.76 in 2022 and $376.80 in 2023, according to county tax records. The ad claims that the vacation rental operates illegally as an Airbnb. The claim arose from a stove placed in the unit, a violation of the conditional use permit for a bed and breakfast, which states that overnight lodgers shall not have direct access to cooking facilities. Tranel's advertisement features a photo from the rental's listing showcasing a kitchenette. Kitchenettes are permissible, but other photos from the rental property listing feature a stove. Prior to the release of the campaign ad, the property manager called the city to ensure that it was compliance with the permit, according to Cody Evanson, a short-term rental specialist for Whitefish. Evanson told the manager to remove the stove, which she has done, returning the property to compliancy, though the listing photos remained outdated. According to the property manager, Evanson said the property seldom sees guests. Heather Swift, a spokesperson for the Zinke campaign, said in an email that, quote, there's nothing illegal about operating a bed and breakfast or short-term rental in Montana. She said the Zinke family has dozens of permits and licenses to operate their family business. They pay taxes and are proud to support about a half a dozen local small businesses who help them manage the spaces. Swift accused Tranel of violating the Zinke family's privacy, intimidating Zinke's wife and daughter in doing so. Swift pointed to a 2021 candidate disclosure report that Tranel filed showing her as the owner of between $15,000 and $50,000 in Airbnb stock. The ad came up again during the candidate's first and likely only debate on Mountain News last week in Helena. Zinke said Tranel's act was a violation of his home. In a statement emailed to the Daily Interlake, Tranel repeated an accusation from the advertisement that Zinke is a housing profiteer. She said Zinke is, quote, personally enriching himself from the housing crisis at a time when families are living in campers because they can't afford a home. This is the second election cycle where Tranel and Zinke will face off for Montana's first congressional district. 2 years ago, Zinke won by around 3 percentage points against Tranel. Fewer than 8,000 votes separated the two. Recent polling shows another close race this November. Zinke led Tranel by 4 points in a September survey commissioned by Inside Elections. A poll conducted by a partisan firm on behalf of the Democratic Party at the same time showed Zinke with a 1-point lead. Montana bow hunters hoping to close out archery season with a successful harvest will be sharing the field with youth rifle hunters on Thursday and Friday. This year, the end of deer and elk archery season overlaps with youth hunting days on October 17th and 18th. Limited to hunters between the ages of 10 and 15, the deer-only youth hunt traditionally coincides with the Montana 2-day Teachers Convention when public schools are closed. Wildlife officials are advising bow hunters and youth hunters to be cognizant that they will be sharing the forest during this time. President of Flathead Wildlife, Inc., Jim Vashro, said it could be problematic because most archers are out there in camo and not readily visible, so there's a potential for conflict. He said he hopes both youth hunters and archers are extra vigilant. Dylan Tabish, the Regional Communication and Education Program Manager for Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks in Region 1, said the overlap happens every few years when the Teachers' Convention doesn't align with the general rifle season. Tabish said it's a long-standing tradition to have the youth hunt coincide when kids aren't in school. He said he believes the hunters can share the woods for 2 days. Vashro cautioned hunters to be sure of their target and beyond before pulling the trigger. The big game general rifle season opens October 26 this year, with archery season ending on October 20th. The U.S. Department of Education Office for Civil Rights is investigating discrimination complaints in Kalispell Public Schools, Whitefish School District, and Polson School District. Superintendents and legal counsel representing the districts were not aware of the complaints when contacted by the Daily Interlake. A person may submit a complaint to the Office for Civil Rights when they believe an issue hasn't been resolved through an institution's grievance procedure. On April 5th, the Office for Civil Rights initiated yet another Title IX investigation involving Kalispell Public Schools after determining there was merit to an athletics discrimination complaint. There are already 4 pending Title IX discrimination complaints alleging retaliation and sexual violence under investigation since April 11, 2023. The complaints are tied to hazing and sexual assault allegations during the 2021-2022 school year involving the Glacier High School wrestling team. Kalispell Public Schools completed its own internal investigations in 2023, and disciplinary hearings held by the Board of Trustees resulted in 3 student suspensions from extracurricular activities. Students were given the opportunity to be eligible to resume extracurriculars upon completion of programming at the Center for Restorative Youth Justice in Kalispell. The Office for Civil Rights initiated an investigation on September 11th for a Title VI, a racial harassment discrimination complaint in Polson School District. A disability discrimination complaint regarding access to a free, appropriate public education concerning the Whitefish School District is also being investigated. That investigation began on September 12th. A complaint is a written statement alleging that the rights of one or more people have been violated and requests that the department act, according to the U.S. Department for Education's website. The Office for Civil Rights opens an investigation when it is determined that there is sufficient information to proceed and if the department has jurisdiction to investigate allegations. An investigation does not mean that the federal agency has made a decision. The Office for Civil Rights investigates to determine if there is sufficient evidence to support noncompliance of applicable statutes and regulations. Officials provide both the complainant and recipient with a letter of findings, explaining reasons for its determination and addressing the evidence obtained. If the Office for Civil Rights determines there is sufficient evidence to support noncompliance of applicable statutes and regulations, it'll send the recipient a proposed resolution agreement. A negotiated agreement must include action steps that will, quote, remedy both the individual discrimination at issue as well as any systematic discrimination. Additionally, the complainant will be notified by the agency if it intends to negotiate a resolution agreement with the recipient. Thanks for joining us. News Now is a podcast from the Daily Interlake. We're proud to be the largest independent newsroom in Montana and the oldest paper in the Valley. Local journalism is important, and subscribing to your local paper is one of the best things you can do for your community. The Daily Interlake is celebrating its 135th birthday with a special subscription offer of only $19.50 per month for a home-delivered newspaper, plus full digital access to all 8 of our award-winning independent newspapers. Give us a call at 406-755-7018 to sign up today and do your part to keep community journalism alive and thriving. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode of the pod. Everybody stay safe and have a great week. Thanks to our sponsor, Lauren's Auto Repair, at 1309 U.S. Highway 2 in Kalispell. Most consistently rated 5-star shop serving the Kalispell area. Visit lawrensauto.com.
Will take care of you. The highest rated in the Kalispell area.